that the Industrial Revolution has been here for quite a while and has been the key determinant of where you get employed, and a good understanding of what that structure means will help you make some decisions for the future, for your own future, right? So 4 levels of it: mechanization, obviously the establishment of the steam engine. We move on to when we discovered electricity and its incorporation into these, huge factories. And you see that the main imperative here is a capitalistic mindset, which means what? Profit. The only reason why human beings have been necessary to the equation was because we couldn't build a better alternative. 3rd level, automation. It's already starting to sound the bells. 4th level, I think Bright also mentions this earlier, that some people are already living in the future. This is already happening. I was coming here today and something popped up on my Instagram channel about a company called Figure. Figure sends into a team of humanoids, right? These are robots, to go and stand in a BMW, I think it's a Benz factory, and study the workers for 2 days. They let the workers go out, and they come back the next day, and the computers have made a car. That's not something from a sci-fi movie. It's all over the web. That's the future you are walking into. So let's talk about that. Next slide. Okay, so just let me talk about this. Of course, the key technologies within 4.0, where we are right now, artificial intelligence, big data analytics, the Internet of Things, these are speaking to all kinds of devices, and they're feeding information in huge terabytes. These are being kind of literally scanned by, deep learning algorithms, all sorts of stuff to try and make sense, of what's going on. Robotics and automation, I've just mentioned to you about Figure. And cloud computing is already here. Most of us are already, using this. Google, AWS, the list goes on forever and ever. Move on. So let me come to this structure. Whereas the argument is that we cannot predict the future, I have a different twist to it. The future has always been the same, or at least it's had the same impetus, incentive structure. In the feudal days, right? You know the feudal days, right? This is when the kings, and directly underneath them, they would have all these lords who manage the land. And then they put together the knights who would literally command their armies. And then there were the serfs. All right? These are the people who end up working for the kingdom and kind of paying taxes. That's the story of the world. You advance that one step further into the industrial age, from industry 1.0 to 3.0, and you have an upper class, mostly finance gurus, bankers, investment bankers, and then you come to like an upper middle. Most of these guys are really great entrepreneurs and XYZ who are trying to push ideas, who need cash, and that's why the big guys give them money. Then you come to the lower middle class, management. You come to working class, normal guys in the industry working, and then the working poor. The working poor in Ghana, I think, a different definition. When we were in school, we thought we would get out with great jobs, with great incomes, live great lives. It doesn't work that way. The guys in trade are probably doing far better than most of us. You can see it in the mansions in East Legon. When you go there, you find how many people actually are there. Yes, a different story. I think when you go to East Airport, they have a different kind of dynamic then. And indeed, it rewards pursuing these old professional ideas, really top-level professional careers. And then, of course, the underclass, the class we cannot but bring into a welfare state and offer some, help along the way. So the question of the future of work becomes really essential for you at this point. What would that future look like? To be honest with you, it would be wrong of me to tell you that I am pretty sure, but I'm about to put my money on it and say the big players in the future are big tech. And by big tech, you are looking at your, Jeff Bezos, you are looking at Elon Musk, you are looking at any of these guys who are really working very closely with AI, and I think Sam Altman, who runs OpenAI, right? So all these names are coming up and at a very dizzying pace in terms of how they are really trying to run the world. And in their model, I suggest big tech is at the top. Of course, there's an upper class on top of big tech, which are the people who actually fund most of these things. They've always been there. And then your middle class will now become an AI-skilled human labor group. So AI training, to me, is quintessential. If you're not having it here, already you are behind, I suspect. But unfortunately, for the first time, we are really going to be talking about drones and robots running in the place of the working class. Now, my theory for this is underpinned by the function of capitalism. Capitalism, the function of the factors of production, I believe raw materials, you've got your labor, you've got your capital, something like that. I'm not a great student in economics, I'm taking a degree in economics now, so hopefully I'll get there. But we have already always used labor because we didn't have something else in place. And the cost of labor is high. America suffers that today, where jobs move from America to the Asian countries, and now there's a tussle to bring jobs back to America, right? Although I fear that may be too late. The reason they went across, in my opinion, respectfully, was because the cost of labor was much cheaper. And so, wherever business determines an advantage from not having to pay what it pays, it will take it. So the question then becomes, the entire white-collar and blue-collar jobs are under threat. And that's what the future holds for you. Next slide, please. Right. So now, let me bring this home. My children came out of school in 2019 at the height of COVID. It was a very uncertain time for my family. I wasn't too sure of my finances to support them through an exciting program they were in. And it took me a year and a half to, searching around the internet, find some very interesting things on the internet, including schooling with people and robots. So, they have never been in school since 2019. I made them take a very advanced course 2 months or a month ago, and I was surprised the scores they got. It was as though, to me, it meant, really, do we need our teachers anymore? Because everything they learned from the computer. But I'll say this. There was a place for teachers. There was a really important role for them, and I'll tell you in a bit. So, on my side, of course, I've put some examples of Khan Academy, Coursera, Udemy as a platform. Khan Academy is already incorporated AI into something called Khan Migo, right? Khan Amigo, I think. And in it, this sense that you mentioned of personalized learning is coming to life. And those are all the interfaces. I don't think you can see it very well, but those are all the interfaces that interact at that level. I took that from a McKinsey printout. Let's move, next slide. So I kind of crystallized what my kids went through. At the first level, all concepts, all ideologies are presented in recordings made by teachers, these are the very best teachers in these topics. And I dare say in Presec, we have the finest of the finest. So imagine that your teachers have recorded their topics explaining a topic like algebra. The definitions are fairly straightforward. There are videos online. You watch them. After you've watched these videos, which are typically for about 30 to 45 minutes, introducing a simple concept, you get a number of questions. Those questions, after you've answered them, qualify you for a class to attend. When you attend the class, the teacher doesn't come and regurgitate the concepts again. The teacher is presented with a dashboard of the major problem areas that children who took that video present. And this is what they spend an hour discussing. And most of the questions are then fashioned around real-world models. The rest of the time is spent then on the second level in that deep discussion forum, trying to really get to the bottom of stuff. I'm using my kids' example, so permit me. The third level is your testing. So the first testing has no consequence. It's just to have a sense of what you got. The third level is instant online testing on the knowledge you've got without the pressures that you have. But all of these things are timed. And so it's not, you're thinking, you'll cheat with a friend or whatever. No, your cameras are on, videos are watching your surroundings. Pretty intense. And then you can also have time-based papers that you write for, but you must scan in time. They're measuring all of that. And the parents sometimes become the proctor. And the very last one is project-based engagement. So everything they learn has to become a project. Why are we learning this? They have something they do every Friday called reflections. You spend time thinking, what did I learn this week? What was it for? Yada, yada. So just to show you by an example, next slide, please. For me, and as I bring this to a close, because it's a discussion forum and I really, would love to dig deep, the next steps for PRESEC as far as 96 is concerned, and I think we've already started this in our endowment fund, is this. Can we call ourselves the leading science school? I think we can, by all standards. But how about a future which says we're the leading science and technology school? How about a future that says that we are a school that also has high capabilities in the arts, in music, in sports? And the reason why I mention these is because you saw the pyramid I drew for you. The agenda that is set for you is so that they remove all efforts at manual work from existence. Please, do not make a mistake. This is not only manual work. Cognitive work, intelligence-based work. Do not kid yourself. The computer is far better at you at detecting a cancer than 10 of your best doctors. That's happening now. All right? So technology is coming for all of that, and we have to think above that. So a number of things. Project-based learning models, really important. We need to get on that critically. Extracurricular programs. And Bright, you mentioned most of the time extracurricular will default to soccer, all of those. It's wonderful. We should. Karate. I recommend karate for your entire school. It's a great discipline, and I think it's something that you should be looking into. But you have your debate clubs, you have your poetry recitals, you have all of those things. They are helping you build this social capability. That has to become a big thing. Number 3, internships and real-world engagement. There are tons of PRESECants dotted all over Ghana and abroad. There is no reason why through the years that you have knowledge and acquire skills here, you should not be matched with most of these companies, at least from your second to third year, after your first year when you settle down. Or maybe even in your first, who knows, right? AI and its implication for learning and jobs, I think I've hammered on that. Bright, you mentioned that needs to come into the classroom with a different mindset for how we set the problem so that it's not that AI is beating you. No, there's a way to do it, and we need to discuss that. Character building alternatives, I've spoken about that. I know most of you might be very excited about this, but I'm a firm believer that you should not be doing groundswork anymore. Clap for me. I'm a firm believer that you should not be scrubbing the doma anymore. I used to do that in first year. I hated it, I tell you. But I had no choice, right? So a science school has no business calling itself a science school if the lights go off and we have to struggle like this. Think about it for a second. And that's not to blame anybody. We're taking that hit ourselves. We need to elevate our interaction to this level if we claim we're a science school that's bringing the most intelligent minds together. What does it mean to have the most intelligent minds if we cannot have something as simple as an endowment that guarantees that education moves on? What does it mean to be a top-level science school which wins all the brilliant science maths quizzes and its lights go off together with the rest of the city. Why can we not be an example for our community? What have we decided this education is? And of course, the funding model. That's one of the most important things. All these wonderful things we discuss is not possible till we have leveraged the minds of the very best of us in investment banking who know how to multiply money like mad so that the alumni can really raise the games and the stakes. And with that, I thank you very much. These are my thoughts on the future ahead. Thank you.
Let's do it better. Let's do it better for them. Thank you, Ɔdadeɛ Bright Simmons and Julius Richardson. Are you learning something new? Are you sure? I'm going to test you before we leave here. So please, I want you to really pay attention to the presentations and then also the conversations we're going to have. We know we've kept you here for some time, but we're going to be very snappy about it, and we'll leave here soon. So let's all please just be on our feet. Be on your feet. Stretch out a bit. You've been seated for some time. So, stretch out, stretch out, stretch out. Come on, shake yourself a little. Shake yourself a little. Dr. Yosafo will tell you that when you sit for a long time, just get up and walk a bit. Aha. Come on, stretch your arms a bit. Stretch it, stretch it. You can break off your neck, All right. Let's take our seats. Thank you. Thank you very much. So at this juncture, I'm going to be inviting two of our esteemed staff members in the persons of Mr. E.S.K. Labi. Mr. E.S.K. Labi. Please, let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Labi. And Mr. Christian O. Ado. Mr. Christian O. Ado. Let's put our hands together. Let's put our hands together, please. And we also have two of our students, Kudomo Selom Komla, and then Amate Josiah Kojo. Oh, please put your hands together for them. Let's encourage them. And then we'll invite our two speakers to please also join us on the stage. Okay, sit here for us. I think our moderators would be on the far, so yeah, one person can be here for us. Good. Bright, if you can sit here. Yeah. Okay, and to help us moderate this session, we have Dr. Yosafo, CEO of Medicars Hospital. He's also an Ɔdadeɛ 96. Let's put our hands together. And Mr. Eric Ejabeng. He is a big man at SIGA. So please put your hands together for him. They're going to walk us through breaking down the conversation so that we would understand it some more, all right? Okay, so gentlemen, I'm leaving the platform to you. We're doing this, and by 9:40, this session will be over. Thank you.
Hello? Hello? Right. So we're going to start the panel discussion for this education forum, and I am happy to be here. We've had erudite presentations from Bright and then Julius. But let me open this segment of the forum with a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of education. And I believe most of us know Martin Luther King Jr. So let's start this way. I want us to look at 21st century education. We're already in it, as Bright mentioned, the future. But because we're talking about the century, then we know that we have a lot more ahead of us. Let's look at the teaching methods. And I would like to start with our teachers here. And I want to find out. Some people say the requirements or 20th century education emphasize conformity and compliance. But that 21st century education requires innovation and creativity. I'd like to know, starting with our teachers, and then I would like to get the input from the students as well. How have teaching methods changed? Or how have we adopted teaching methods to align with this new emphasis on innovation and creativity? So any of the distinguished teachers can set the ball rolling.
All right, thank you very much. Teaching methods and learning processes have changed a bit over time. And if we want to look at 21st century teaching and learning processes, there are several things that have been introduced which we need to augment. To start with, in the olden days, let me put it this way. A mathematics teacher will enter the classroom, and the first thing he will do, he will say mentor. And then right from the word go, you will start 4 by 4, 4 times this, 6 times that. And then if you are not able to give the right answer, some encomiums will do. But in the current situation, you cannot go with mathematics that way. And so there is what we call the real world applications, that you connect academic concepts to real life scenarios.